The shocking revelation, "Can I ask you something, Miss Evelyn? Do you even understand the pain you caused?" Because the way someone behaves is often a reflection of what they've endured. And what Tamar Braxton revealed recently proves just that. This isn't a story about a rebellious daughter or drama for the cameras. It's a story of decades-long emotional torment that remained hidden behind smiles, harmonies, and church choirs. Tamar Braxton, in a late-night Instagram live that shocked thousands, broke her silence. For years, fans had speculated about tension within the Braxton family, but no one was prepared for what Tamar disclosed. Her voice trembled, her eyes were red from crying, and yet every word cut through the silence that had surrounded her suffering. Behind the camera, behind the persona of the cheerful, dramatic baby sister, was a woman who had lived under constant emotional manipulation by her own mother, Evelyn Braxton. Tamar recounted years of walking on eggshells, hiding her pain behind a forced smile while the matriarch of the family maintained her public image as a loving, strong mother. She spoke of a childhood where love came with conditions, every step was monitored, every emotion scrutinized, and every misstep punished not physically, but in ways that left invisible, long-lasting scars. The story began to unravel that fateful Wednesday night. With no makeup, no filters, in a dimly lit room, Tamar went live, exposing what had been kept secret for decades. Tens of thousands of fans joined instantly, sensing this wasn't going to be a simple celebrity rant. With a trembling voice, she asked the question that had haunted her for years. What do you do when your mother is your abuser? Her words hung in the air, heavy with truth. And then she began to share a reality few were ready to face. Evelyn Braxton, the woman many admired as the moral anchor of her family, was the one who had caused Tamar the most pain. Verbal lashings, gaslighting, isolation from her sisters, manipulation of career opportunities, and an incessant demand for obedience. This was her life behind closed doors. Tamar described moments where she was edited on Braxton family values to appear as the problem, painting a picture that the world believed, the loud, emotional, dramatic baby sister. But that persona was a mask, a survival tool, hiding the relentless mental and emotional abuse she endured. She wasn't crazy. She was reacting to trauma that had been normalized in her household. The emotional weight of her confession was palpable. Fans began flooding comments, sharing disbelief, shock, and support. Some said they had always sensed tension between mother and daughter, but had no idea the depth of it. Tamar recalled a moment during her first major music breakthrough when Evelyn allegedly threatened to disown her if she didn't follow the family plan. "You ain't nothing without this family. Don't forget who made you," Evelyn allegedly said. Words cut deeper than anything else. They haunted Tamar through failed relationships, public meltdowns, and even her darkest hour in 2020. When she attempted to take her own life, Tamar's confession was raw, unfiltered, and brave. She said aloud what she had kept hidden for decades. Evelyn Braxton had tortured her emotionally, and she was no longer afraid to speak it. Tamar's revelation didn't stop at childhood pain. She peeled back layers of control and manipulation that stretched far into her adult life, exposing a system of emotional dominance that few could imagine. This wasn't just about being the dramatic baby sister on TV, it was about a woman who spent decades living under the constant shadow of her mother's authority. She described a household where love came with strings attached. Every action, every word, every dream was subject to scrutiny. Disagree, question, or seek independence, and you risk punishment, not with physical force, but through a suffocating withdrawal of affection. Tamar said it plainly. She trained me to believe that love meant obedience, that my voice was disrespect, that success without her was betrayal. Fans watching began to connect the dots. Scenes that once seemed like typical family drama now took on a darker, more sinister meaning. The arguments, the tears, the explosive meltdowns, these weren't signs of a spoiled child. They were survival. Instincts in a home where Tamar's feelings were consistently dismissed. The control extended beyond the household. Tamar revealed how Evelyn allegedly interfered in her career, warning producers and executives about her supposed emotional instability. Opportunities slipped away inexplicably, contracts fell through, and doors closed without explanation. For years, Tamar blamed herself, thinking she was difficult or unworthy, but now she saw the pattern clearly. Even her romantic relationships weren't spared. Evelyn reportedly called her partners, planting doubt about Tamar's temperament, ensuring she remained dependent and isolated. Every breakup, every failed connection was another tool in a lifetime of emotional manipulation. Tamar said, every time a man left me, she'd say, "See, nobody can deal with you." That sentence lived rent-free in my head for decades. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of Tamar's account involved therapy. Whenever she sought professional help, Evelyn allegedly dismissed it as weakness and demanded to know every detail discussed in sessions. When Tamar refused, she faced accusations of disloyalty and manipulation. The result? Anxiety, panic attacks, chronic insomnia, and a profound inability to trust others. Through Tamar's eyes, it became clear that Evelyn's influence was methodical. She wasn't simply a strict parent. She was a puppeteer, controlling emotions, isolating her daughter, and ensuring that Tamar could never fully break free until now. The viral livestream revealed that the battles Tamar fought on TV were a small glimpse of a lifelong war, one that extended to interactions with her sisters as well. Tamar claimed that Evelyn often pitted her daughters against each other, whispering lies and sowing division, all while maintaining her image as the family's moral compass. This manipulation ensured that Tamar always stood alone, the angry or dramatic one, while Evelyn stayed untouchable in the eyes of the public.
For fans, these revelations were mind-blowing. Clips that once seemed trivial, eye rolls, arguments, moments of visible frustration, were suddenly seen in a new light. What had been dismissed as personality quirks or youthful rebellion were, in reality, cries for help. By the end of Part 2, the pattern was unmistakable. Evelyn's control had been total, stretching from private life into professional and social realms. Tamar wasn't just a daughter dealing with a tough parent. She was a survivor navigating years of calculated psychological warfare. As Tamar's story unfolded, she delved into moments that shocked fans to their core, incidents that went far beyond ordinary family conflict. She described times when Evelyn allegedly showed up uninvited to her therapy sessions, monitoring every word, every emotion. When Tamar's ex-boyfriends entered the picture, they too reportedly received warnings, cautioning them about Tamar's temperament before they even got to know her. These weren't isolated instances of overbearing parenting. Tamar called it what it was: psychological warfare. "She trained me to believe that love was conditional," Tamar said. "That speaking up was disrespect, and success without her was betrayal." The twisted family dynamics became even clearer when Tamar exposed the role her sisters played, willingly or not. According to Tamar, Evelyn would pit the girls against each other, whispering criticisms, sowing jealousy, and creating tension behind the scenes. While Evelyn projected the image of a moral matriarch, she allegedly orchestrated the drama that played out on Braxton family values. Tamar claimed, "My mama turned us against each other, and every time I spoke up, I was the angry one." Fans were stunned. The baby sister they once laughed at as dramatic was, in reality, the one fighting battles that had been invisible to the public eye. Every harsh word, every cold reaction from Evelyn was part of a calculated system of control, leaving Tamar feeling isolated and unheard. The darkest revelations emerged when Tamar recounted moments from her adolescence. At age 12, she said she attempted to run away after being beaten with a belt for refusing to sing during a church event. She was locked in her room for 2 days, allowed only crackers and water, while her sisters were allegedly instructed to ignore her cries. That moment became a defining point in her understanding of love in her household, obedience or punishment. But Tamar's suffering didn't end in childhood. She revealed a chilling voicemail from Evelyn after Tamar's 2020 hospitalization, a moment when any mother's heart should have been broken. Instead, Evelyn allegedly scolded her for making the family look crazy, demonstrating more concern for image than for her daughter's well-being. Fans were horrified. This was not a grieving mother. This was control disguised as authority, and Tamar had the evidence to prove it. Even within the production of Braxton Family Values, Tamar said scenes were edited to portray her as unstable while protecting Evelyn. Former assistants allegedly confirmed Evelyn's influence over how she was portrayed, ensuring the matriarch remained untouchable. Meanwhile, family group chat leaks suggested her sisters were complicit, discussing how to ignore Tamar's emotional moments rather than support her. "They weren't protecting me," Tamar said, her voice breaking. "They were protecting her." The narrative shifted entirely. The loud, dramatic baby sister of the Braxton family was now seen for what she truly was, a survivor of decades of emotional abuse. Every misstep, every tear, every perceived overreaction was reinterpreted as a response to trauma, a response to growing up in a home ruled by manipulation, control, and fear. After Tamar's shocking revelations, the world was watching and waiting for Evelyn Braxton's response. Known for her poised, God-fearing, and respected image, Evelyn had carefully curated the persona of a loving matriarch. But Tamar's live stream shattered that image in ways that couldn't be undone. Fans, celebrities, and mental health advocates alike held their breath, wondering, would Evelyn deny, apologize, or retreat into silence? Less than 24 hours later, Evelyn responded in a pre-recorded interview with a small faith-based network. She appeared composed in a powder blue suit, her Bible beside her, yet her eyes were cold and calculating. The first words out of her mouth weren't an apology, they were a warning. Sometimes, when children don't get their way, they lash out in the most ungodly ways. "I raised my daughters in truth and discipline. I didn't abuse them. I saved them." The word saved struck like a slap to viewers worldwide. Instead of acknowledging her daughter's pain, Evelyn doubled down, framing herself as a misunderstood protector. She even referenced Tamar's suicide attempt, implying that her daughter's struggles were a result of poor choices rather than years of emotional abuse. Fans were outraged. The response was widely seen as cold, manipulative, and lacking empathy, sparking a viral backlash across social media. Tamar didn't stay silent. Minutes after the interview aired, she posted a video of herself sitting in her living room, mascara running, holding her phone, shaking her head as Evelyn's words played in the background. "You'll see it now. She's still gaslighting me, and I'm a grown woman," she whispered. "You'll see it now. She's still gaslighting me, and I'm a grown woman," she whispered. The online response was explosive. Mental health advocates, survivors of parental abuse, and everyday fans rallied behind Tamar. Many recognized the hallmarks of emotional manipulation, psychological control, and generational trauma in her story. Others were stunned by the sheer audacity of Evelyn's denial, especially after the receipts Tamar had already started to share. Tamar didn't stop there. She went live again, this time not crying, but furious. "Don't sit there with your Bible and pretend you didn't destroy me from the inside out. You told me I was nothing. You told me my voice didn't matter unless it made money for the family. You told me I was a mistake, and now I'm the liar." Her words resonated globally. What had once been perceived as over-the-top dramatics on reality TV was now clearly a response to years of calculated emotional abuse. Tamar's story sparked hashtags like #WeHearYouTamar, #ProtectBlackDaughters, and #TamarToldTheTruth, creating a movement around accountability, mental health, and parental abuse. The public divide was immediate. Some defended Evelyn as a product of her time, claiming she was raising her daughters the way she knew. Others condemned her, pointing out that control and manipulation are not generational quirks, they're abuse. Meanwhile, Tamar's bravery in speaking out inspired countless survivors to share their own experiences, validating years of pain that had gone unspoken. The storm surrounding Tamar Braxton's revelations escalated when she began sharing undeniable evidence. Screenshots, voicemails, and private messages that spanned nearly 2 decades surfaced, proving what many had only suspected. Evelyn's emotional abuse was methodical, consistent, and often enabled by the very family that should have protected her. Tamar posted screenshots of cold, controlling messages allegedly sent by Evelyn. One read, "You're embarrassing me again. If you don't get yourself together, don't come around this family." Another, I'm tired of cleaning up after your emotions. Figure it out. There was no warmth, no concern, no empathy, only authority and judgment. Tamar followed the screenshots with voice notes, her voice steady but shaking. This is what y'all didn't see. This is what I protected for years. Perhaps the most chilling evidence was a voicemail left shortly after Tamar's hospitalization. Evelyn's voice was calm, almost irritated. I don't know why you're doing all this dramatic stuff. If you wanted attention, this ain't the way. Don't make us look crazy. Fans were horrified. This wasn't the reaction of a mother worried for her daughter. It was the reaction of someone prioritizing reputation over care. Mental health professionals called it deeply harmful, highlighting the long-lasting impact of minimizing a loved one's trauma. Fans were horrified. This wasn't the reaction of a mother worried for her daughter. It was the reaction of someone prioritizing reputation over care. Mental health professionals called it deeply harmful, highlighting the long-lasting impact of minimizing a loved one's trauma. Tamar also revealed how Braxton Family Values producers confirmed that scenes were edited to protect Evelyn. Emotional breakdowns and manipulative comments that crossed the line into abuse were allegedly cut or reframed to make Tamar appear unstable. Former production assistants reportedly confirmed that Evelyn had final say over certain edits, controlling the family's public image while hiding the pain she inflicted. Tamar also revealed how Braxton Family Values producers confirmed that scenes were edited to protect Evelyn. Emotional breakdowns and manipulative comments that crossed the line into abuse were allegedly cut or reframed to make Tamar appear unstable. Former production assistants reportedly confirmed that Evelyn had final say over certain edits, controlling the family's public image while hiding the pain she inflicted. Leaked family group chats further exposed the betrayal. Sisters discussed ignoring Tamar's emotional moments rather than supporting her, showing that the isolation wasn't just orchestrated by Evelyn. It was upheld by the entire family system. They weren't protecting me, Tamar said. They were protecting her. Fans began to realize the full scale of Tamar's experience. She hadn't just been emotionally isolated by her mother. She had been systematically marginalized by the family structure, turned into the scapegoat while Evelyn remained untouchable. Scenes on reality TV that once seemed trivial, arguments, tears, conflicts, were now viewed through a lens of survival. Tamar wasn't the villain. She was the one fighting battles that no one else acknowledged. Her story also exposed how attempts at seeking help were met with resistance. Therapy was discouraged, private sessions monitored, and any refusal to report details back to Evelyn was met with accusations of disloyalty. The constant psychological pressure manifested physically: anxiety, panic attacks, insomnia, and a profound mistrust of others. Tamar's bravery in sharing these receipts turned the narrative on its head. The Braxton family, once seen as a harmonious sisterhood, was now exposed as a household where control, manipulation, and division reigned. Fans, mental health advocates, and survivors worldwide began to rally behind her, validating experiences that had been silenced for generations.